graphs. And what we are going to start with is our axes. Does anybody remember what the horizontal axis is called? That's the X. And our vertical is our Y. Very good. This is quadrant 1. This right over here is 2. The question is, do you have to use Roman numerals? And you can put the other ones, but I will tell you mathematically you'll always see 1, 2, 3, and 4 in Roman numerals. To me, if it's your notes, you can write it how you want. Yes.
Why aren't any of those negative?
Because this is called quadrant 1. This is called quadrant 2. It's not like positive or negative. This is quadrant 2. So if I say, well, where does a point fall? You would say quadrant 1 or quadrant 2, quadrant 3, quadrant 4. So it's just the title of the quadrant. Five. If I know you guys know that this is a point, but does anybody know another name for this point? Ordered pair. So this is called an ordered pair. Our first value is our X, and our Y is the second value. Just like in English and the alphabet, we have here X and Y is alphabetically in the alphabet, and it is here also. So if you can remember that it's alphabetically, it'll help you to remember that it's X, Y. Your slope is rise over run, so yep, it's Y over X. Yep. So domain of your function and equations is your X values. So what do you think your range is then? If domain is your X values, what do you think range might be? Your Y values. Now, what that means is it's saying what value can you put in for X? That's going to be your domain. Your range is what do you get out of it? What values can Y be? What values does Y end up being? If you notice also D comes before R in our alphabet, X comes before the Y. So that hopefully will help you to remember that they do become alphabetical. The last thing you have to learn today is function. And it says for every X there is only one Y. I'll show you, but it doesn't matter. It's for every X, there is only one Y. Some of you might have heard this before, but it passes the vertical line test. What the vertical line test is you literally draw a vertical line and it only can hit the graph one time. Alright, so if you draw a vertical line and it only hits the graph one time, it passes the test. If it hits more than one time, it fails the test and it's not a function. So, what does a function look like? Well, a function could look like this. That's a function. Because no matter where I put my line, it is going to only hit one time. This right there hits twice. So it's not a function. Alright.
Another one that's kind of like this. Goes up and over and up again.
Oh yeah, the graphs.
Oh.
Yeah. Today we're only going to deal with these guys, and then the other one that you're going to deal with today is a line. So is a line a function? Yes. Alright, example 1. We are going to, on each one of these, we're graphing the relation. We are going to state the domain and range. And third, we're going to tell if it's a function. All right. What we have, and I can move this up. We have the ordered pair -3, 2, -1, -4, 4, 3, and the ordered pair 5, 5. So, just like on tonight's homework, you can sketch it or you can use graph paper. On your homework this evening, I do have graph paper if you want some. So, we have here -3, 2. So, I have to go, how do I plot this point? Over 3. So, I'm going to go left 3, 1, 2, 3, and up 2. Very good. And then -1, -4. So, I'm going to go over 1 and down 4. 4, 3. So I'm going to go right 4 and up 3. And the last one, 5, 5. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4, 5. Now, unordered pair, do not connect the dots. That's all it is it's just dots. So when you get to your homework tonight, it's going to look like this. You don't connect them. Now, let's do what we need. We need domain is just D, R is your range, and F for function. So you don't have to write it all out. We're gonna say what the domain is, what the range is, and the function. When you have ordered pair, it's literally what are the numbers. What is D? D is my X. So D is my X. So I have -3, -1, 4, and 5. My X values. Range is your Y's. So we have 2, -4, 3, and 5. Is this a function? Yes, it is. One thing you can definitely tell is, first of all, there's no x's that repeat. So that can tell you that it is a function. And also, the vertical line test, it definitely passes. If it repeats an x, that y has to be the same. If it has different y's, it's not a function. All right? When you do your homework tonight, any ones that you graph, you're going to graph it and you're going to do your domain, range, and function just like this. Yes. You're going to have to, you can use graph paper or you can just use paper like this. Yep. Yes. All right. Example 2. Graph y equals 2x plus 5 and state the domain, which is our D, our range, which is our R, and is it a function? Yes or no? After this one, I'm going to only call it, I'm going to call it the DRF. So I'm not going to keep writing domain, range, and function, but I will write it for this one. Before we begin, does anybody remember what it looks like if you have y equals 2x plus 5? What kind of graph is that going to be? It's going to be a line, right? So it's going to be a line. It's going to be a straight line. When I ask you like what a graph looks like, you can just say a line. Whether it goes up and down, things like that is great if you know, but if not, all I want you to know is that this looks like a line. When it's a line, you need 3 points. Any 3 points to graph a line. Alright? I'm just going to choose 0, 1, and 2. But it doesn't matter which numbers you pick. All you need is 3 points to have a line. Alright? So if you can remember that y equals 2x plus 5 is a line, you need 3 points. How do you find those points? What do I have to do for those?
You're going to plug the x in for the x.
Yes, so you're going to go y equals 2 times 0 plus my 5. Now, you don't have, if you know how to do this, you don't have to write that part down, but I'm writing it down so that everyone can see how I'm getting my numbers. So 2 times 0 is 0 plus my 5 will give me 5. And then I plug in a 1. So I have 2 times 1 plus 5. 2 plus 5 gives you 7. And then you plug in your 2. 2 times 2, 4 plus 5 is 9. Zero, 5. And I have to go up to 9, so I'm going to draw those points first. So 0, 5, 1, 7, and 2, 9. So I'm going over 2, up 9. Now, if you can't draw a straight line, which I cannot by myself, just take even a piece of paper. You don't even need a ruler. Take a piece of paper and see, look at, see, good thing I had that paper because it's catching my extra. So, and remember that it goes on forever. Alright. Domain is my what values? X. So what values can I put in for X? Well, that's what I put in. But if I wanted to, if I was crazy and I wanted to put in 1,000 or 1,000,000, could I? Any number. So all real numbers is my domain. If I was bored one day and decided to be crazy, I could put every single number that I could ever think about in there. Because it's all real numbers can go in there. If you wanted to. I mean, if you wanted to, you could. Because remember, this says it goes on forever. So, with that said and done, your range, the values you would get out. If you can put everything in, what are you going to get out? All real numbers. Because remember, this goes on forever. So, it's also all real numbers. Is this a function?
Yes.
Yes, it passes that vertical line test. It is a function. Yes.
Can't you find a line with only 2 points?
You can. It's better if you have 3 just to make sure, but you could definitely find a line with 2 points because every line would be on it, but I like to have 3 just to make sure we didn't goof up somewhere. All right, example 3.
How many samples are there?
4. All right, we're going to graph y equals x squared plus 3 and state the domain, range, and function. Anytime you guys see x squared, I always want you to think of a parabola. Think of a U. It might be opens up, it might open down, it might open on its side. However, it is a U. Alright? So, when you see this x squared, I want you to always picture in your mind it's going to look like this or like this. Whenever you see the square, or it might open down. Anytime you see a square, it's going to be something to that effect, or this way, if it's y equals. These are y squared and these are x squareds. But just, I need you to remember that. The reason that is because that tells you when it's your circle, or your half circle, you need to have 0, 1, 2, and -1, -2. You need to have your positive and negatives of that number. Alright? So you get both sides of your graph. So this is just to remember anytime you see a square. Remember that it's going to look like one of these. There's 4 types.
So we automatically know it's not zero.
Well, no, because if these 2 could be, these ones are not. Yep. Alright, so when you plug it in, you go 0 squared plus 3. So 0 plus 3 gives me 3.
Should it be 1, like 2, 1, 0, -1, -2?
You're talking the order?
Yeah.
You can put it any order you want on a number chart. 1 squared. 1 squared plus 3. 1 plus 3 gives me 4. Then 2 squared, so 2 squared plus 3. So 2 times 2 is 4, plus 3 is 7. What is -1 squared? 1 is right. Make sure you put parentheses around that if you're putting it in your calculator, or just know it's 1. Because if you put this in your calculator and you put -1 squared, it's going to say -1, but that's not what it is. It's -1 times -1, because we're putting in a -1. So you want to make sure either that you say, oh, -1 squared is 1, or put parentheses if you're putting it in your calculator. So we have 1 plus your 3 gives you the 4. And the last one, -2 squared plus 3. 2 times 2 is 4, plus my 3 is 7. What do you notice about these points?
They're all positive.
They're all positive, is right. On this, your 1 and your -1 is the same, and your 2 and your -2 is the same. Let's, there's always going to be a line of symmetry, so yep, so they'll always have your points, because it'll be like a mirror image across it, yep. So, we have here, at 0, we are plotting 3, so 1, 2, 3. At 1 is 4. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 is 7, so 1, 2, up 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now negative, we have -1 is 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And -2, up 7. When you do this, ladies and gentlemen, make sure it's like a U. It has to be, it's not pointed, it's not a V, it's a U. So you want to make sure you round it. Now, you can't really tell, but this thing, it really, like if I blew this up, it's always curving outward. Always curving, curving, curving. It's never straight up and down. So, this will pass your vertical line test. It might not look like it, but it does. So even if I show you here, this is the same one, and I'll do zoom normal. This is what the graph looks like, what we just graphed. And if I zoom in on this, even that, because it looks like it might not, but if I zoom in on it, see, it does curve. So it will always pass that vertical line test when it's up like this. All right? So let's talk about our domain, our range, and our is it a function. All right, domain. What can I put in for x? All real numbers.
What if we actually put what it is? We have to put all the
You can't put what it is because it is all real numbers, because that means that you can put any number in. Domain will always be what numbers you can put in. So it might say like all real except for something. Range. Now this is tricky. We'll see if anybody has. Yep.
All numbers greater than 3.
Very good. All real numbers greater than 3. Hit it right on. So how we write that though is we just say y, because range is y, is greater than or equal to 3. Or you can write the whole sentence out. All real numbers greater than 3. You could definitely write that. But we just say y is greater than or equal to 3.
Yes.
And yes, it is a function. All right. Last thing. Anybody not have this? All right. Example 4, and then we're done. All right. Determine whether the given ordered pair is a solution to the equation. So determine whether the given ordered pair actually pairs are solutions to the equation y equals 2x plus 5. The first point is 1, 7. How could I find out if 1, 7 is a solution? What does it mean to be a solution, Nick?
You plug 1 for x and then solve the equation for y, and if we assess it.
All right, that is definitely one way. And to show, to be able to show yes or no, what you really want to do is plug this always in for x and this in for y, and then put a question mark. So 7 is equal to 2 times 1 plus 5, and you're asking, is that true? If it's true, then it is a solution. So we have 7 is equal to 2 plus 5. That's yes, because 2 plus 5 is 7.
what? I was kidding. I got it.
All right. 3, 5. So I'm going to plug in 3 for my x and 5 for my y. So that says 5 equals 2 times 3 plus 5, and that's a question. So it's not. And if you can't see it yet, go one more. 5 equals 2 times 3 is 6 plus 5 is 11. So 5 equal 11. The question is, and it's no. So that's not a solution. You can just write no, but I'm just going to write not solution, so you know what no means. All right. Questions? after I get the assignment to you. All right. On your assignment, what I want you to do is I want you to work throughout the hour. So if you feel like you're not going to get it all done, at least do a couple problems from each section, all right? Now, your assignment is page 114, 115, numbers 1 through 35, but we're only doing odds. The reason we're doing odds, ladies and gentlemen, the reason you're doing odds is so you can check your work. Checking your work is different than just copying the back, so you want to make sure you check your work. Whenever you graph, I want you to state the domain, range, and if it's a function. That's when you graph them. And then the last is 60 to 64 all. Now, if you, like I said, if you don't think you're going to get done, which you do have plenty of time, if you don't feel you're going to get done, do a couple from each section and then go back through and do the rest, unless you know you're going to finish it up at home. All right? Make sure you also check your work, because that's one good thing about having a book. We can check our work now.
Yeah, I need to go get a
I gotta
book.
go get my
Okay.
book.